let's indeed take you to England, where I'm being joined by two football coaches. We will take a look at news coming out of England, especially football at this point in time. John Duke and indeed Simon Nicole. Well, it's nice to have you, gentlemen, and it's time to talk football. John Duke, Simon Nicole, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Mayan. Nice to be back.
Very good to have you back. And Nicole, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon to you.
Interesting. Let's indeed get straight to the business. Let's start with the Champions League final. Wembley is the place to be. You're closer than I am at this point in time. And we understand that Real Madrid are expected to indeed touch down for the biggest football club competition in the world. And it's all about the final. What is it like? What's the atmosphere like at this point in time as we look forward to the Champions League final?
It's going to be, I think it's going to be a huge event, a massive event. Jude Bellingham goes to head-to-head against Sancho and Gitten. It's going to be really, really good. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a buzzing final. I do think Madrid might have it, but I don't know. I really can't call it. It's very close. What do you think, John?
Well, I got it wrong last week with my prediction at Wembley, didn't I? I said that City would win 4-0 and United turned up for once. So everything points to Madrid for me. Toni Kroos's last ever game for Real Madrid. Jude Bellingham's just won La Liga Player of the Season. Ancelotti, as you said, is a marvel at Champions League. They've won it 14 times. But as United proved last week, a final is a one-off game. And nobody expected Dortmund to knock out Atletico Madrid, knock out PSG, get through the group of death they were in. So who knows? Jadon Sancho's on fire. He looks a player reborn at Dortmund. So you never know. 90 minutes or longer, anything can happen. But you've got to fancy Madrid, haven't you? They've just got the superstars in their team.
Well, John Duke, I will be back to you. You just talked about Toni Kroos's last game, all things being equal, in the colors of Real Madrid Football Club. But let me go to Simon Nicole. And as we speak, Simon, it's one moment where the Three Lions are preparing for the European Championship. And the players are already in camp, looking forward, to the big tournament. But it's an homecoming for Jude Bellingham and also Sancho, the rejected stone at Manchester United. But interestingly, these two English lads will be playing at opposing ends. And what does this say about English football and these young lads ahead of the finals, Simon Nicole?
It's proving that the grassroots element in football in the UK is producing world-class players. And as you can see there, a lot of interest in of English players into the European and the world circuit as well. So I think to see these youngsters go through it is just quite amazing for us as coaches as we develop them into squads.
Simon Nicole, let's take a look at some of the reality as far as the final is concerned. Toni Kroos, it will be his last game in the colors of Real Madrid. He already bid farewell, to fans at the Santiago Bernabeu on the last day of the season as far as La Liga football is concerned. But on a Champions League night, can the players go one step ahead to indeed win the trophy? For Toni Kroos, on the night is retiring finally from a sport that has brought him fame and fortunes. John Duke.
Yeah, I personally feel that Toni Kroos is one of the most underrated midfielders in world football. Often when you talk about Madrid and their midfielders, you talk about Modric, and then you talk about great midfielders, people like Zidane. But Toni Kroos hardly gets mentioned. But to be in a team like Real Madrid, winning season after season, he's a mainstay in that team. I think it will be fitting for him to go out and win the Champions League. But often in football, the fairy tales don't happen. You expect it all. It's all centered around one player to say a final farewell. and then somebody like Borussia Dortmund will come along and upset everyone and win the title. So it's going to be interesting, but it'll be a very emotional time for Toni Kroos, his last ever game for Real Madrid for sure.
All right, let's come back to England and take a look at them football flicks coming from the Premier League at this point. And it's a tough one at this stage. No doubt, Manchester United winning the FA Cup at the expense of Premier League champions Manchester City means automatically they will be playing in the Europa League next season. That is the rule. But then, there is a big challenge, for Manchester United ahead of the Europa League tournaments. According to UEFA rule, major shareholders in the club, or indeed an owner of two teams, cannot have them participate in a particular tournament. And that's one challenge Manchester United will be facing. And indeed, you're talking about Manchester City also, as far as the Champions League is concerned. The owner of Nice Football Club in France is also one major shareholder at Manchester United, which is a big challenge. And questions are being asked. What will UEFA do? How will they come out of this big challenge? Nice Football Club in France have qualified automatically for the Europa Cup tournament by virtue of finishing fifth in League 1, but Manchester United had to come through the domestic championship, which means if UEFA were to decide, Nice would take the nod. But these two teams, have qualified, and something must be done. And this is the biggest question that football fans in England and France have been asking. John Duke, let me start with you. What's your take on this?
Yeah, man, it's very interesting. From what I understand, I'm no expert on the UEFA ruling, is that the teams cannot enter the same tournament if they have the same owners. However, that's if the ownership is over 30% in each team. Now, I think from what I can hear, Manchester United are going to be okay because Sir Jim Ratcliffe only owns 27% of Manchester United. So I believe the latest I heard is that they're going to be okay because the stake is lower than 30% in Manchester United. Man City and Girona, though, I believe is different because Man City own 100%. The Abu Dhabi consortium own 100% of Man City and 49% of Girona, I think. So the only way I think those two will be able to play in the Champions League is that if they de-invest or reduce their investment to under 30% of Girona. That's what I believe is the ruling. I don't know, Simon, if you've heard different.
It's basically the majority shareholder who's got the actual voice in the club. If they have got a voice in the shareholding in the club, then it could be, they can be looked at. I heard that they might, the UEFA might relax the rules for next season, miraculously. I don't know. That's all kind of financing. Wow. We look at a lot of money which is being pushed around in the Premiership, and all these big owners coming in, taking shares and shares. Like, you got obviously the 777, which is going through to Everton and stuff. There's lots of money coming in from all different foreign entities. And with this ruling, it's going to be very, very tricky. So I think UEFA have gone into that route where they're going to relax the rules. But I don't know. Maybe I'm hearing wrong. Maybe I'm hearing, it's a rumor. I don't know.
So it would be astonishing, and I'm sure that clubs will indeed say that probably UEFA is favoring the big teams if this rule is relaxed. And just like John Duke said, in the case of Manchester City and Girona, it's more complicated because Manchester City owns 47% stake in Girona Football Club. And Girona have done excellently well in La Liga last season. In fact, on the final day of the season, they scored no fewer than 5 goals. And this is one team that everyone has been talking about in La Liga. John Duke.
Yeah, it would be a real shame when the Girona's shocked everyone to get into the Champions League. So it would be a real shame if they now have to drop out for any reason. So I think Simon's right. I think they'll find a way, UEFA, that they could, that all the teams will stay in the tournament. But unless Man City are willing, unless the Abu Dhabi consortium are willing to drop some of their investment in Girona. But I feel that, as Simon says, they'll find a way for everyone to take part.
Well, let me come to you, Simon Nicole. We understand that Leicester City may be considering Ruud van Nistelrooy, and I'm sure that's one name that is common to fans at Old Trafford. Van Nistelrooy was the coach in the Eredivisie 2 seasons ago, but now Leicester City, who are back in the Premier League, are probably considering Ruud van Nistelrooy, this time not as a player, but as a coach in the Premier League next season.
There's been lots of rumours being thrown around about who's going to take the Leicester thing. Well, it still hasn't been agreed that with the Chelsea agreement. That's still going through at the moment. There's still lots of agreements going on. Who's paying for what, and what's going who, and what's the contract and everything that's happening. We wait and watch. These are all rumours flying around at the moment. I would say if they go into Leicester, it's going to be a hard job. They've got to turn that team around. They're coming up into the Premiership, and they've got to go and fight in that league. It is a tough league to survive in. Whoever takes that role, if someone comes in and takes that role, is going to have a tough time.
Well, let's indeed listen to one man who has gotten the job at the Bavarians, talking about Bayern Munich. His name is Kompany. The French will say Vincent Kompany, but then Vincent Kompany, a Belgian, at this point in time is the new coach of Bayern Munich. And he says he already feels at home. Let's listen to it.
First of all, it's a privilege. It's an honor, and but I'm excited. So my energy is really positive, and yeah, I'm looking forward to work with the players, with the staff, and hopefully give everything that the fans love to see about the club. I think if you stand for something, you always have to stand for something that's close to who you are as a person. I grew up in the streets of Brussels, and so we love the ball. We're creative. I like players who are brave on the ball. But also I was always a very aggressive player. So I like the team to be aggressive. I like the team to be also brave in being aggressive.
Well, Simon Nicole, let's take a look at Vincent Kompany. Played well with Burnley in the Championship, gained promotion to the Premier League. But right now, despite Burnley being relegated, is getting a very juicy offer as far as European football is concerned. This is huge for Vincent Kompany.
It's a massive move for him. I mean, he's got to prove. I mean, he couldn't prove it into the Premiership, but he's got to prove it in this. I mean, he's got some good players, obviously. He's basically he's got in the squad. Will those tactics that he tried to use in the Premiership work in the Bundesliga? It's the question. I don't know. I think it's going to be a hard job for him. I would love to see him. I'd love to see him try. I always like to see coaches achieve what they want to achieve. But let's see.
All right, John Duke, answer flick to Barcelona. Another tough one for him. Barca struggled last season in La Liga, playing second fiddle to Real Madrid. Not the best of outing in the Champions League, lost to PSG Football Club. And this time around, John Duke, what's your take on answer flick to Barcelona?
Yeah, I was interested to hear Xavi's comments as he left. He didn't hold back on his feelings about what's happening at Barca. All doesn't seem right there. I know they've got some financial challenges, but they've done very well to get Flick. I heard that Vincent Kompany was 8th choice for Bayern Munich. I hope Vincent's not listening, but they wanted Flick, and they wanted Xabi Alonso. They wanted to try and keep Tuchel. So nobody saw company to Bayern Munich done well with their current situation. I think to get Flick, a very experienced manager, very successful. From what I gather from Xavi's comments, I don't think they've got the buying power maybe to catch up with Real Madrid. But let's see. Next season we'll see. They've got some good players, but Madrid are about to sign Kylian Mbappe, so they're going to get better and better. So it's going to be a tough season for Barcelona.
Tough days ahead, the words of John Duke. But John Duke, Simon Nicole, before I let the two of you go, in 30 seconds, where do you think the pendulum will swing this weekend? Dortmund, Real Madrid?
I think it's going to be Real Madrid. I think it might be a really close game, and I reckon it's going to be 1-0 to Madrid.
John Duke, your take?
I'm going to go for 2-1 Madrid. Jude Bellingham, both goals. 90th minute winner. He's good at late goals, is old Jude. Ready for the Euros.
I will indeed go with John Duke. I see Jude Bellingham scoring in the final, especially at Wembley, and it would be a dream for an homegrown talent to indeed score at an iconic stadium like Wembley. I must say a very big thank you, John Duke and Simon Nicole, for indeed talking to us all the way from London on the program today. Well, we will believe